things up a little bit, and then just hopefully we're at a better baseline at the beginning of patch 0.2.
I was listening to Connor a little bit to get my Twitch drop that night, and he said, I think they need to nerf everything by 90%. That's probably what they need to do.
Yeah.
Will they do that? Or are they going to go with 40, 50% to not scare people? Because we all know how
I think the chat's bringing up some good points there, saying that they're scared. They're scared of basically scaring players off pretty much. And I actually just think they just...
What do you think, Sir Guy?
Inaction scares players off. Inaction, the reason that I have played less in January, February, March than I would have otherwise is because there were 3 egregious balance mistakes. I'm only talking Hand of Wisdom in action, Archmage, and Trample Toe, the Trample Toe Frostwall interaction. These are the 3 egregious mistakes. 89% of players on high-level characters, according to PoE2 Ninja, are scaling their damage using one of these 3 methods. Now, this means that any boss that they want to introduce to be something that can actually stick around for a little while, it needs to have its numbers balanced around these egregious outliers. And that means that they're going to be a complete and utter progression brick wall for anyone that's not playing one of these balance outliers. This is the consequence, this is the status of the game now. They should have fixed those 3 outliers. The 2 that they knew about at the time in December, they should have fixed in December. The one that came up later should have been fixed in January. If they'd done that, if Hand of Wisdom in action had been deleted, nerfed so hard that people replaced it with Rare Gloves from Act 2, if they'd replaced Archmage, if they just nuked it from orbit, and then later on you can buff them back to the point they're compelling to use, but that they don't dominate the meta. If they'd done that, I think the game would be in a much better place. This is what they were promising to do before the game started. And it's just, people sort of drift away because it's I don't really feel like playing Hand of Wisdom in action builds. I don't feel like playing an Archmage build, and I have 0 interest in the Trample Toe stuff. So I'm not playing, I'm basically unable to compete economically with the people that do use those broken things.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, that was one of the things I was most excited about with PoE2 was pre-launch. They said they were going to be balancing the game regularly, and then, a couple of weeks in or a month in or whatever it was, they put the last patch out, and then we didn't have anything for 2 months. Just nothing. No communication, nothing. The game's just stale, the same things are overperforming. And
did they get asked about that during the Ziggy interview?
Not during the Ziggy interview, but
no, really?
There was a Q&A, but there was a Q&A with, I think, the press, and they were asked, and they're going to treat it like a full release game. But essentially what Jonathan said was, we thought we could do this because it's early access and people would give us that grace, but people aren't in their view, and they're not willing to meet. They didn't say this, but they're not willing to meet halfway and say, okay, we're going to give you free respecs or 70% reduced free respecs, whatever. John Groan tweeted out, Ascendancy respect should be a thing during early access, at least, right? So people can just test up, right? They're not going to do that. And instead, they're going to focus on the big balance every 3 to 4 months.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense because
I don't know. I don't agree with it.
It was so easy to avoid that. You just say we're doing a huge balance pass. Everyone gets a free respec. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
What's the problem with that?
There is one issue with allowing ascendancy changes. I'm actually of the opinion that they should allow ascendancy changes, but not until the ascendancy you're respecing into has existed for at least 2 weeks. And that's because they need to get feedback on bad ascendancies. If they'd allowed ascendancy respecs on day 1, they would have no feedback on the Blood Mage. They would have no feedback on the Acolyte of Chayula at all. They'd have no data as to whether these are any good, because every single player that was playing them that was even remotely focused on optimizing would have respec'd into the other ascendancy on that class. Blood Mage actually ended up getting better later on, although that's mostly the Trample Toe shenanigans, but even the Dead version of it is a solid enough build too. And that was something that was discovered late. I don't know that Dead build would have been discovered if everyone that was playing the Blood Mage that was optimization focused had been allowed to respec into, it was Infernalist, wasn't it? I'm thinking Stormweaver. Infernalist was the alternative.
But My big fear for this patch and balance and 100 plus new supports, 100 uniques, 5 new ascendancies, all this stuff coming to the game, these crazy essences, all the crafting options. I feel like the exact same thing is going to happen. And there's going to be a few outliers. Everybody's going to gravitate there, and then nothing's going to happen until August.
Yeah.
Right?
It is going to. That exact thing is inevitable. It's an inevitability that the game gets broken by